There's a constant state of flux in the music industry that can't be ignored. It's a constant struggle to keep making big songs, keep staying relevant, and of course, keep making money. Sometimes you're a hit, sometimes you're a one-hit wonder, and sometimes you were huge, and then you just fade out. That latter one just might apply to Lil Pump. Number 6, a brief history of Lil Pump. Gazzy Garcia, yes, that's Lil Pump's real name, started out in rap in rather humble fashion. And I mean that honestly, he never thought he would be a rapper, but started doing freestyle for a friend of his, Smoke Perp, and then decided to go and do SoundCloud raps. This got him a bunch of attention via songs like Boss and D-Rose. Then eventually he broke into the industry hard with Gucci Gang, which still remains his biggest song of his career. He signed with Warner Brothers Records, built up a fan base, started cranking out hits, and even got so popular in a unique style that other record labels were trying to copy his rise to fame with other talents so that they can match his successes. Given all of that, you'd think that he would keep rising higher and higher in the world of rap. You'd be wrong. He plateaued, and he has himself to blame for that. Number 5, the first arrest of many. Lil Pump has had a very tenacious relationship with the law, and he's never truly been afraid to break it as long as he felt he could get away with it. But ironically, unlike some rappers, his arrest didn't start immediately once he got into music. He actually stayed most only on the straight and narrow for the most part, including in 2017 when he had his biggest hit, Gucci Gang. Yet in 2018, he fell off the wagon, if you will, and in a variety of ways. The first of his string of arrests came in February of that year when he discharged a firearm in a place that had people in it. While owning a firearm isn't illegal per se, more on that in a bit, firing a weapon without cause where other people can get hurt is a big crime. And the police were obviously called because of the event. Here's where things get interesting though. Lil Pump's manager stated to the police that some people had tried to break into Lil Pump's home, and he opened fire on them as a result of this intrusion. Had this been true and proven, then Lil Pump would have been free and clear under the laws of self-defense. However, as you can guess, that's not exactly what happened, and Lil Pump himself made the situation worse. Because the weapon was nowhere to be found when the police arrived, which you would think wouldn't be the case when it's clear it had been discharged in the room, it was only after getting a search warrant that they found the piece and ammo hidden away, presumably by Lil Pump. While he was arrested, there wasn't enough evidence to discredit his claims, and so, instead of jail time, he went and got put on probation, which for him should have been a wake-up call. It wasn't. Number 4, jail time. As part of his problem, he wasn't allowed to go driving, meaning he had his license revoked by the court. Driving without a license is another big offense, especially when you're on probation. But that didn't matter to Lil Pump because he went out driving and got pulled over by a cop. Upon finding out what he was doing, he was arrested. A few days later, Lil Pump himself admitted that he was going to be doing jail time, and he wasn't sure when he was going to get out per se. According to reports, he was supposed to serve a few months in jail, and yet by the end of the month he was seen at an award show, proving that he either got off early or another deal was cut behind the scenes. Either way, Lil Pump was free for the time being. Number 3, the Denmark incident. This particularly odd and dumb series of events happened December 4th of 2018. After disembarking a plane in Denmark, where he was scheduled to do a concert, Lil Pump got arrested by police after searching his bags. The officers found that he had some cannabis, which is illegal in the country for the record. So because he had possession of an illegal substance, he got arrested. The irony here is that this arrest was actually a fairly minor one. He wasn't going to serve jail time for this because of the country's laws. In fact, he was only going to get a fine of less than $1,000 for having this substance. That should have been the end of the whole experience. Instead, though, he was so mad about getting arrested that he pulled out his phone, started up a live stream, and both mocked and flipped off the police officers in the car. They eventually noticed this and arrested him again. Not only was he fined for the possession charge, he was banned from Denmark for 2 years. Yes, that really happened. You have to be really stupid to do something like that, and now an entire country doesn't want him near them. Classy. Number 2. Butterfly doors controversy. As if his fights with the law weren't enough, Lil Pump has made a lot of bad waves via his songs and lyrics. The biggest example of this is Butterfly Doors. During the song, he decided it would be funny to include a slur against the Asian culture. Even used the name of one of their biggest celebrities ever, Yao Ming, as a reference during the slur. The slur was included in the song and the music video, and during the video, Lil Pump made a motion with his eyes that was another racial slur against Asian culture. The backlash was immediate and loud. Not only did many people condemn him for what he did, many Asian rappers wrote diss tracks against Lil Pump to ensure that their displeasure was heard and felt. Lil Pump had to backpedal in quick fashion, offering an edited version of Butterfly Doors in regards to both the soundtrack and the music video, and he had to make a public apology. Though to be honest, he likely didn't mean it given his lifestyle. Number 1. The fall of Lil Pump. 2019 was honestly a rather quiet year for Lil Pump. He released his album, Harvard Dropout, to moderate acclaim in sales. He did various singles and collaborations across the board, but he hasn't made waves. Then in 2020, he did a fake retiring stunt on Instagram, and he's setting up for some big collaborations potentially, but in truth, he's hardly making waves anymore. Being objective, Lil Pump is the perfect example of someone who has done nothing right once getting fame. He's impulsive, irrational, erratic, and more. He'll do anything to show up a rival, including buying a $4.5 million house just to shut J. Cole up. Who does that? There's no telling where Lil Pump will go from here, as much of his fate is in his hands. But if he doesn't clean up his act soon, he'll find himself in bigger trouble than he realizes, and his mark on the rap industry will be incredibly small. So there you go, a look at the history of Lil Pump and what happened to him in terms of popularity. What do you think will be the fate of Lil Pump? Do you think he'll continue making music and succeeding? Or do you think he'll fade out? Let me know in the comments below. Be sure to subscribe and I'll see you next time on the channel.